is known as the tech hub of the country, but there are still structures scattered around the city that hold on to the rich history of the place. One such example is the Bangalore Tract and Book Society building, also known as the Bible Society building. Due to urbanization and growing influence of Western trends, the building has been exposed to new modern perspectives. This melded with the spirit of the city's colonial history and brought rock music to its corridors in the form of businesses like the Hard Rock Cafe and 180 Degree Proof.
The Bangalore Tract and Book Society is located at St. Mark's Road, which was named after St. Mark's Cathedral in the state of Bangalore, Karnataka. In the early 1900s, St. Mark's Road was a part of the cantonment area of Bangalore. The cantonment was established by the British in the early 19th century, and St. Mark's Road was one of the many grounds that was primarily used for military purposes. The road was initially used as a parade ground, but over time, it developed into a residential area with many bungalows and villas. In the 1920s, the St. Mark's Cathedral was built on the road, which is still date an important landmark. In the 1970s, the road began to transform into a commercial hub.
One example of colonialism in Bangalore's cityscape is the architecture, which reflects the cultural norms and architectural styles of the British colonizers. The Bangalore fort, constructed by Kempe Gowda, the founder of Bangalore, was later expanded and fortified during the British occupation. The fort was an important symbol of colonial power and control. It served as a center of British administration and military defense. The construction of other buildings like the Bangalore Palace, which is built in a Tudor style, it also reflects the imposition of colonial architectural styles on the city. It undermined the cultural and architectural capabilities that were present in the city. It seemed as if the colonial rule came to impose their styles and lifestyles on its people. These buildings continue to be an important part of the city's cultural heritage and serve as a popular tourist attraction. Their significance is also seen in the city's social and political fabric.
In the 1800s, a woman named Mary Jones walked 40 miles to get a copy of the Bible. This event inspired the setting up of the Bible Society in Wales in 1804 with the purpose of spreading the Bible in different languages. With the arrival of the British colonial government in India, Christian missionaries proliferated in cities like Bangalore, which increased the demand for translated versions of the Bible. This led to the establishment of the Bangalore Bible Society in 1825. In 1860, the first Kannada Bible was published by this organization.
To begin with, the Book Tract and Bible Society of Bangalore was a product of the Victorian temperament in England. The Victorian era was an era marked with religious revival and renewed interest in Christian beliefs and practices. The Church of England, also known as the Anglican Church, was the official state religion and had a strong influence on society, its people, politics, and culture. The rise of Anglican religion came with the suppression of the city's traditional beliefs in India and Bangalore in general. The colonial perspective tended to paste Catholic education and Christian ways of education among people. This led to mass conversions into Christianity, including times when those conversions were not at people's best interest, or should I say they were against the people's wills.
The history of the building goes back to 1912, when the stone structure was constructed as a recreation establishment for the British called Blighty's Tea Room. Later, it housed the Bible Society of Bangalore. Post-independence, the building became the Tract and Book Society and has changed many hands since. At one point, it was an HMV music store, and at another, a pub called 180 Proof. Today, it houses the Hard Rock Cafe. Though the building has been occupied by various tenants over the years, the Bible Society is a constant. Several notable personalities, including the Queen of England, made a visit to its premises in 1961.
The building was constructed in Tudor style with classical and Gothic influences. It features a grand entrance with a pediment supported by columns. The facade is made of stones and has an ornamental detail. It was constructed in the mid-19th century and is considered to be an excellent example of colonial architecture.
Tudor architecture in Britain refers to the architectural style that was prevalent in England from the late 15th to the early 17th century. It is characterized by its use of half timbering, steeply pitched roofs, and ornamental chimney stacks. One of the defining features of Tudor style architecture is the use of timber framing on the exterior of the building, which is typically filled with plaster or brick. This created a textured and intricate facade. The steeply pitched roofs often feature multiple gables and dormers, giving the building a dynamic and visually interesting silhouette.
The Bangalore Tract and Book Society building has a symmetrical design with a central entrance flanked by two wings. It is 2 stories tall and features 2 feet thick stone walls with exposed metal pipes and ductwork. It also has arched windows with stone trimmings. The most prominent feature of the building is the central tower, which rises above the entrance and is topped with a weather vane. The tower has 4 levels, each with arched windows and decorative stone trim. The classical and Gothic elements include fluting or shallow grooves running along the stone surfaces and decorative cornices. Some parts of the building also feature stucco, which gives it a rough feel. Other notable architectural details of the Bangalore Tract and Book Society building include intricate ironwork on the windows and doors. While the overall architecture is very impressive, there are areas where renovation is required.
During the colonial period, Bangalore underwent significant changes in its cityscape as the British constructed buildings and infrastructure that reflected their architectural styles and cultural norms.
The introduction of new urban planning schemes by the British also had a significant impact on Bangalore's cityscape. The introduction of the cantonment system in areas around St. Mark's Road, which created separate residential areas for the British and Indian populations, further reinforced social and cultural divisions in the city.
Colonial buildings often serve as landmarks and focal points in the city, providing a sense of history and continuity in an otherwise rapidly changing urban landscape. It also adds to the aesthetics of the city by creating a sense of grandeur and majesty.
However, from a post-colonial perspective, the presence of colonial buildings in Bangalore is a reminder that colonialism was a violent and exploitative system that inflicted immense harm to the indigenous cultures of India. The continued use and celebration of these buildings in the present day can be seen as a continuation of colonial power structures and a failure to acknowledge the legacy of colonialism. The aestheticization of the city on British lines is a reminder of the dominant mindset of British racial superiority present during those times.
So, Homi K. Bhava in Of Mimicry and Man, the Ambivalence of Colonial Discourse, he said that under the cover of camouflage, mimicry is like a fetish. This mimes the form of authority at the point at which it deauthorizes them. So from a post-colonial perspective, the Bible Society, it has deauthorized from the colonial setting by converting it into an element that fits the present urban aesthetic of Bangalore. This element is the Hard Rock Cafe, which is a very notable name in context of Bangalore's nightlife. The publishing of the Kannada Bible within this building is also significant in terms of remolding and assimilating the colonial influences within the city's larger engagements. So, Bangalore Tract and Book Society, which also shares the same space, it houses thousands of different books in different languages, further decontextualizing the colonial element. The Book Society, influenced by both European and local cultural traditions, it led to a hybrid form of intellectual exchange that reflects the complexities of post-colonial culture.
The architecture of the Hard Rock Cafe building, it can be seen as an example of cultural hybridity and resistance. The building's neoclassical style has been appropriated and repurposed for a new modern use as a popular American themed restaurant and music venue. This transformation represents a hybridization of Indian and Western cultures, where a colonial style has been reimagined and reclaimed by an independent post-colonial nation. Thus, the Hard Rock Cafe building serves as a site of resistance against the dominant narratives of colonialism as it repurposes the colonial architectural style for something new and independent.
The Hard Rock Cafe building can be seen as a product of commodification and mass consumerism. As the times changed, a source of religious dissemination gave way to intellectual engagements through the library books. This is symbolic of the Victorian shift from religion to science. In the present capitalist society, the Bible Society and Book Society have made way for a capitalist pursuit. From a Marxian perspective, Hard Rock Cafe as a social space may reflect the increasing commodification of culture and of intellectual pursuits with leisure activities.